Hi, Nate Webb from the Webb Law Firm. You're here wondering why your case is in federal court as opposed to probably City of Tacoma or Pierce County District Court or somewhere else wherever you got charged. So the reason that you're in federal court is because you were on federal property when you were arrested for DUI or very close to it. So in the most common thing I see is a military individual being arrested coming back to base from being out or on base by military police. And so the jurisdiction then is the federal court or federal jurisdiction. And so that's why you are in federal court. What to expect in federal court? So again, this could happen if you were arrested on national park land or something like that. But most of the time it's on military base. So what to expect in federal court? It's very formal. And you want to make sure that you're there on time. When you first check in, this is the Western District of Washington. When you first check in, you'll go down to the bottom floor after you go through the security, and you'll check in with the clerk. They'll go ahead and give you some documents and direct you to the courtroom that you're going to be in front of. Most of the time, you're going to agree to have your case heard in front of a magistrate judge. So this is not a federally appointed judge. It's going to be a magistrate. And so they handle these types of hearings as opposed to more intricate and detailed types of hearings. So I've never not been in front of a magistrate judge for a DUI. So the first appearance that you're going to have is going to be called an arraignment. You were notified by mail of your required appearance in federal court. And the arraignment is your entry of a plea. So the prosecutor is going to provide your attorney, or you, if you're represented by yourself. You would always have a public defender even if you're by yourself. They're going to give you what is called an information. And an information is the charging document which lets you know what you're being accused of committing. And so in a DUI context, they're going to incorporate the Revised Code of Washington 46601502, which is the DUI statute in Washington. So they utilize that same language to charge you in federal court. And so at the arraignment, you're going to appear with your attorney, and the prosecutor would be there represented by the government. And they would stand up in front of the judge and let the judge know, the magistrate, what they are accusing you of. They're going to tell you what the maximum penalties are. In Washington state, the maximum penalty for a DUI, whether it be federal or state court, is 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine. The mandatory minimum, depending upon what your breath test was, is either 1 or 2 days in jail, 1 year of ignition airlock, 90-day suspension of your license, or 1 year, depending upon whether or not you took a breath test. And there'll be mandatory fines and fees as well. In federal court, the fines and fees are a little bit different than they would be in district court. It's actually less expensive. The total fines and fees in federal court are less expensive. So they'll stand up and tell the magistrate what the charge is, and then your attorney will enter a plea on your behalf. And so it would go something like this. You would be seated there. Your attorney will always stand in federal court. So word to attorneys, if you've never been in federal court before, you will always want to stand when you're addressing the court. Okay, just forewarned, don't skip that part. Okay, so your attorney is going to stand in front of the court and enter a plea for you, and it'll go something like this: Your Honor will acknowledge receipt of the information. Will waive any further formal reading on behalf of my client. I would like to enter a plea of not guilty. Then the court will go ahead and accept that plea of not guilty, and then you will be released upon just certain conditions to abide by. Really, just maintain law-abiding behavior and don't commit any new offenses. And so that's kind of the arraignment. The difference in federal court between federal court and district court or municipal court is, in federal court, they won't set interim hearing prior to trial. They will just set a trial date. Okay, so if you're an attorney watching this and you don't know, if you've never been in federal court before, there is no pretrial. There is no omnibus. They just set it directly for trial. If your attorney would like to file motions to challenge the sufficiency of the evidence in a suppression hearing, that has to be done separately, and your attorney would have to file that with the court. And there's a certain way to file things there. Attorneys, it's called PACER, and you'll need to learn how to use that program. But That's how federal court would work. And so, in between that arraignment and the trial is when your attorney could be discussing the matter with the prosecutor with respect to resolving the case. Another thing that is different about federal court, this is for attorneys, is that typically the prosecutor does not require, nor does the court require, any alcohol assessment or any classes. So many times I've not had a client have to do any alcohol assessment or any 8-hour alcohol drug information school, or if they're in the military prime for life or SUD-C, or a DUI victim panel. So those are things that are a little bit different in federal court, where it's not required that they do those things. Typically we reach a resolution. We enter that resolution, whether it be reckless driving or negligent driving, the same statutory language, same statute as it is for Revised Code of Washington. And then there's a small fine and fee. It's usually $500 or $1,000, and then there's always this $25 fee they add on. So that's the difference between federal and district. But why you're in federal court is because you were charged on federal property. It's not going to be any different than if you were in district court, other than the formality of it. But the ultimate end result is going to be the same in most instances. If you have any questions about that, whether you're an attorney and you've never done federal court before, or if you are charged with a DUI on military property or what have you, I represent a lot of military people. I always offer a military discount. So give me a call and I'm happy to help you out.